I am Kirk M. Samuels,
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
and we are the Madmen of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
For who?
For you.
For who?
Them.
What? Who? Nice.
That's how we do it.
That's how we roll. We do this thing. We do this thing without microphones and without cameras and stuff. And so we just decided, hey, why don't we record some of these conversations, man?
Speaking of conversations, Lord, do we ever do?
All right. Let me put my mouthpiece in. Let me get my gloves on. Let me put some Vaseline on my face because it's about to be a battle.
About to get ugly.
You know, we need to come out touching gloves. We need to keep it real on this bad boy, man.
No punching below the belt.
No, well, yeah. We'll keep it as clean as possible.
Yes, we're going to keep it clean. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about why, when men express their wants and desires, they get so much flack and vitriol in today's time and age. Because we had I made a post. I like to make posts. I read something online. There's just a little list of things from a therapist that said this is what men really want. And I read the first bit of the post and went, I kind of agree with that. I think I'll post that. That might be a good conversation. And man, did people lose their minds.
Man, they flipped their lids. You started something big time, man. You did.
And let me rephrase that. Not just people.
Yeah.
Ladies lost their minds. Why? Why do you think it is when a man expresses his desires or just wants, even if it's not an expectation, just like I want this out of a woman or in a relationship? Why do you think that causes such an issue?
So let me back up here. So after you posted that,
in the story,
and at some point it came across my timeline, and when it came across my timeline, and I was just kind of scrolling down, and I saw like a bunch of comments. I started scrolling down through the comments, and as I was scrolling down through the comments, I noticed a pattern, and the pattern was that it was, with maybe two exceptions. I'm talking 2 out of 20, 25 exceptions. But with very few, only a couple of exceptions, all the comments were women either making excuses why they couldn't give a man or hear or recognize what a man wants, or they were just flat out like, I'm not going to do it. But the point is, it was some kind of pushback. Other than those two responses, it was just nothing but women just offering some kind of rebuttal or some kind of pushback or something to negate the post itself. Not the details, but really just the whole idea of like the two words men want. I think that was like the triggering thing.
I think so too. I know there was some blowback on the use of the terms or how it was written with must and need and things like that, which I agree. I don't think you must or need to do anything. Although when it comes from a therapist who works with men who is saying this is what men, basically they were saying that what men secretly want. Like, men aren't expecting these things or even asking for these things. Those just as men want. And I think the first thing that I saw, the first little paragraph, was they want cooperation, not competition. Mm. And I was like, well, yeah, we want in our relationships cooperation. Why do we see so much in media and in social media and even on sitcoms and things where it's all about competition, and there's the bumbling dad and then the amazing superhero wife, but the guy's a dunce.
Yeah. So I chimed in on that. I chimed in with a comment acknowledging what I saw. Mm-hmm. And man, that just threw fuel on the fire. That was like throwing JP5 on a campfire at that moment. Matter of fact, one young lady, she decided to kind of almost, at least the way it came across to me, she kind of flexed on me, and she was like, when men need to stop expecting things from women and, projecting and all this other kind of stuff. And I had to, I don't play, you know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of come back with her, and, I'm not mean or cussing nobody out, but I told her, don't bring none of that false masculinity over here, blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of came right back at her with the same masculine energy that she was coming after me, because up to that point, it was basically a choir of women, basically echoing what each other was saying and agreeing and yeah, girl, all that kind of stuff. And when I kind of jumped in with that, she decided to and somehow maybe she thought the pack was going to turn on me, which, man, I don't care, I'll scrap. And so, then when I came back with that, then, eventually, and then, her comment was, men need to stop expecting something. And she had a nerve to talk about me projecting. And I said, well, wait a minute. The quote was what men want, not what men expect.
Yep.
And so, who's projecting here kind of thing. And so, and anyhow, that kind of put that. But the comments still, they still came after that. And there was still a whole lot of, just the if, thens, and whys and all that kind of stuff. And it just brought up the whole idea of why is it so offensive for men collectively, or maybe even individually, to say, this is what I want in the area of relationship or marriage or anything like that with women.
Yeah, I mean, when I think maybe in the next episode or another episode, we'll actually go through the list and talk about the things, because after all the vitriol and all these comments, I was like, well, maybe I missed something. Maybe let me go back. Let me look at this list. Is there something that I just didn't cross my radar? Did I miss something? And I read through it and was like, okay, I mean, most of the things I basically agree with. Some of the terminology, some of the wording I wasn't, excited about. Although for the most part, I really was like, yeah, these are just basic things men want. I think the first one was after the cooperation was respect, and then they want their woman to initiate sex as maybe 10 times more than they do now, which depending on their relationship could be 0 to 10. I don't know. And being smart with money, just being a partner, and we'll have to pull up the list and do an episode on that. But what was interesting was looking at the list, there was nothing that a rational person would be like, no, that's wrong. It seemed like to me it was very logical and reasonable, although we did get a lot of blowback. And I think some of it was really just, how dare you have a list of things you want from a woman, and how dare you, like the one girl said, have expectations on a woman. Though what I did notice, and what seemed to be the theme of it, was a lot of the ladies who are single were the ones who had the most animosity to the list.
Go figure. Go figure. How does that work out? But yeah, I mean, it really struck me, to your point. Nothing was really outlandish on that list. It wasn't like, men want to come home and have you serve us and have you rub our feet. It was nothing misogynistic or nothing like that. It was basic kind of human wants, really, from a male point of view. And, the point being, it really struck and stuck how it almost came off as offensive to these women, that how dare masculinity voice its wants.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, was like, and I feel like, and this may be just a part of human nature, maybe it's just a cultural swing, I'm not sure, but there seems to be this, like, okay, a lot of ladies are thinking, well, men, you had your time, and they want to refer to the patriarchy and misogyny and all these different things, and so it's like they want the pendulum to swing all the other ways. Now they have all the power and all the say, and men get nothing. Though that's not a healthy reciprocal mindset for relating. And so when a man goes, hey, I would like to have a healthy relationship with you, and here are the things that are on my list of needs and wants, when you just say, nope, you don't get a list, I mean, how healthy is that, and how does that work in a relationship?
Yeah. And I mean, where are we if this is the case? And obviously everything we talk about, feels like we got to say this almost every time, man. It's kind of annoying, but A is our own opinion, and B, we're not talking about everybody. Yes, there's I mean, it's like, okay, if it don't apply, let it fly. Keep the meat, spit out the bones, whatever you want to say, however you want to term it. Either way, underneath the surface, it really did feel like there was a sense of how dare you have wants? How dare you have, and not only have wants, but have the audacity to verbalize that you want something, and more specifically, what you want, even when it's not offensive. And like I said, it was pretty reasonable stuff. And next time we talk, and we'll get into the actual list. I mean, it wasn't anything outlandish, but it just ultimately came down to, we'll get into a little bit deeper into this after this break coming up. But it just, right off the gate, right off the rip, as I was reading through, man, it was almost offensive. And you actually pointed out after a while that, you know what, these women are actually, most of them were single. and some of them habitually single. And I wonder why, So anyhow, I mean, that was the main thing of the first observations that came out of the comments from this post.
Yeah, I mean, when I posted this, and of course I did it on a work day, so I posted it in the morning because it just crossed my feed while I was in the bathroom or making my coffee or whatever, and just posted it and left. I didn't see this storm of comments and anger and stuff come on until later on. I think it was you made some comment around lunchtime about, oh yeah, I talked to some girl and this and that, and I checked her and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, you dropped a stink bomb.
Yeah, and then I went back in, and it was about that time that I was like, okay, wait, all right, I should have prefaced this. Like, these are men's wants, not what they expect, and most likely not what they are asking for. Most men would probably be very ecstatic in most of their relationships nowadays to get one or two of these things on this list, and there's only like 6 or 7 things on the list. Then to get one or two of those things in a week or a month, probably in their current relationship. So it was a difference between wanting and expecting. And I mean, looking at the list, it was like, yeah, I think if any man was really honest, he would want those things.
I don't think you need to preface anything. I think the reality is, if we're going to own masculinity, if we're going to own healthy masculinity, especially moving out of the quote unquote, I got my own opinions about it, my quote unquote toxic masculinity era, but if we're going to move into the era of healthy masculinity, we need to just be able, because we've done work on ourselves or, continually doing work on ourselves. We need to own that, to the point where we speak our wants. I mean, I think, maybe that's part of the problem that for so long, because of the dark cloud of an era in the past where men haven't been all that we could be and that sort of stuff, that it's like, we're relegated to the corner to just sit down and shut up, and you take what you get in the dating market, in the relationship market. Like, you get second, you get second scraps kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to preference any of this stuff. I think we need to be bold enough to just say what it is and say, hey, here's what we want. And it's up to you to either decide to try to meet us there or not, period.
Yeah, I think the first comment on there was, is this the 1950s? And
Right.
I looked at lists like, what? And that was the mindset was, how dare you have wants and tell me what I should be doing,
right.
Those things. And so I think you're absolutely right. It's time for us to stand firmly in our masculinity and say, these are my wants. And because when it comes down, especially to relating and relationships, you're not looking for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the rule of thirds, which was one of my favorites, no matter what you do or what you say or who you are, 1/3 of the people are not going to care.
Mm-hmm.
1/3 of people are going to hate you no matter what you do or say or who you are. And 1/3 of people are going to love you no matter what you say and who you are.
Yeah.
So we're only worried about the third. And then when it comes down to even that, we're going to break that third down into 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Like our inner circle. So the only way to do that is we have to be ourselves and represent our wants, desires, and needs.
Yeah, and when we come back from this break, I want to jump straight into the whole why is it that it goes both ways, doesn't always go both ways.
Yes.
So on that, we'll jump to our break here. We'll be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC in the Mile High, 12:20 a.m. Crawford Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
And we're back.
We're back.
Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC, 12:20 a.m. in the Mile High City.
And on the interwebs everywhere.
We are everywhere.
Hey, folks can go to Facebook. You can go to Mad Men of Masculinity page on Facebook. Man, we got a YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, Will Smith, that like button, subscribe button, all that kind of stuff. It don't cost you nothing to do that. It don't cost you nothing to hit share. I mean, it don't cost you nothing to support us digitally online and help us grow this platform. Quite honestly, neither one of us do this full time at this point. We would love to do this bad boy 5 days a week and promote healthy masculinity 5 days a week. So that's just a short little plug. Hey, did you hear that that we decided to set up man headquarters in that chamber behind Mount Rushmore?
I heard something about.
Yeah, that's gonna be like the Hall of Justice.
That's a man cave, right?
Yeah, remember the Hall of Justice?
Yeah.
So we're gonna set up the official man cave headquarters right behind Mount Rushmore in that chamber. So if there's ever like a man apocalypse, that's where we all go. That's where we all evacuate to.
I got it. I like it.
That's where we all evacuate to. So hey, I'll meet you there. That's where the antenna is. Maybe that's where we're broadcasting from.
That's it.
We're broadcasting from behind Mount Rushmore in the head. Whose head is that? That George Washington's head? One of the two.
George and
I know, but whose head is the room behind? I don't know.
I would put it behind Abe's. You think?
I don't know, man. He did have a big head.
He did have a big head.
He was tall too, wasn't he?
Like 6 foot something. Yeah.
Man, this got to be the biggest squirrel in the history of radio.
Squirrel.
Anyhow, man, so we're talking about the whole idea of men wanting blank.
Do you have wants and desires?
Man, I got some deep wants and desires, man, and I've noticed kind of in the modern dating and relationship culture, quite honestly, when you bring up something that maybe touchy or maybe triggery, one thing you'll hear, triggery. Did I just make up a word?
That's another new word.
I invent them. I don't make up words. I invent them.
That's right.
I invented a word. So you can look that up in the Curb Dictionary. You like it. Anyhow. So here and you can find the hard copy of that dictionary in the chambers behind Mount Rushmore at Man headquarters. Anyhow, what was I saying? See, I squirrel myself. So what a lot of times when you hear anything triggering, you hear the phrase "it goes both ways," right? And most of the time, if you point out something, and if anybody's listening to this, I dare you, I challenge you to do this social experiment. Go on social media if you have a social media account and find something or post something that is either like men want or something that is challenging women or challenging femininity, and you'll probably pretty soon hear somebody say, "Yeah, it goes both ways." And I found that I saw you do that, by the way, pretty quick, man. That's pretty slick. This is something we got. Don't worry about it, y'all. Show up behind Mount Rushmore if you want to know what we're talking about. That's our headquarters. That's our headquarters. Anyhow, and you'll hear that phrase, "it goes both ways," right? And I find that most of the time, really, when you push back, when you examine that whole notion of it goes both ways, it seems like it goes both ways when it's convenient. When it's expectation, maybe that don't need to go both ways, but at the same time, sameness or the feeling of equality that needs to go both ways, and we need to, I need this and I need that, all that stuff needs to go both ways. But when it comes to quite often the modern feminist side of the equation, maybe not so much. Maybe we don't want to have the same exact physical fitness standards in the military and in certain professions, and maybe we want to, we want equal representation in the boardroom, but we don't necessarily need equal representation in the back of a trash truck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when you hear, and the funny thing is, when you hear it goes both ways, that's usually the nicest response.
Right.
Either you get no response, or you just get you're crazy and you're misogynistic, patriarchal, red pill pig or whatever. And that's what struck me so much about how much just blowback we got on this thing, because I agree, some of the language of must and should may have not been the best utilization of English language. However, just the whole theme of a man has wants of, he would like to have more collaboration, less competition. He would like his woman to initiate sex more, be good with money, and all these different things. And what was really interesting was why it caused so much blowback, especially from the kind of chronically single. And because we did have a lot of ladies who are in relationships, are in healthy relationships, long-term relationships, is like, he doesn't get those things all the time. I do my best as a woman to give him those things. However, that's what he wants, and he has expressed to me, or he expressed to me what the things he does want. Because even on that list, they're going to vary. There's going to be things where, like, yes, that's an absolute yes, I need that. And the other things like, man, take it or leave it. Other things like, no.
Hey, we just got to wave through the window from the great Rachel May, Corner Cafe Radio.
Rachel,
how you doing, Rachel? Hey, are you going to come over here in one of these days and talk from a woman's perspective? Are you going to do that? No, thumbs up. Thumbs up. All right, we need to get some good, like, perspective.
Do we need the fiery redhead in here?
She is. She's got a fiery spirit, but man, she's one of the most loveliest people you'll ever meet. One of the sweetest, gentlest souls you'll ever meet. She's got a fantastic little dog. She sings. She's multi-talented, multi-gifted. Anyhow, Rachel Main's Corner Cafe Radio. calm. Sorry.
It's Bye, Rachel.
Is she?
Oh, man. She's got to go do her show. She's got to go to the corner cafe.
So yeah, we'll end her one of these times. You look like you about to say something to you, sir. Cool. Okay. Yeah. He's like, I got nothing to say.
I did like that tone though. I think that means that's kind of like everything's fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead, do what you want.
No, I'm fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm fine.
Double talk.
But so the whole idea, I think there's that notion of, it goes both ways. Sometimes it can only go both ways when it's convenient for me.
Yeah.
Like because to me that says it's hard for that person to just sit in the feedback. It's hard to take that feedback and just sit with it, not try to rationalize it, not try to change the semantics of what you're saying. Like, just give me your truth, give me your honesty, and let me sit with it. And let me, again, keep the meat, spit out the bones kind of thing. Let me hear you where you're coming from and then meet you there or not. As opposed to deflecting or as opposed to, I need to hold up a mirror because if I'm it's conditional. It's like, if I'm going to do it, then I need you to do it first. Which, man, that'd be we definitely need to unpack that one here.
Well, and that's, I mean, to your point, when we put up something about men, uplifting men and men need to take charge and become the best men they can be and be in charge of their finances and their health and their fitness and all those things like that and become better men for their women in relationships. We get across the board 100%. Yay, rah, rah, rah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's when we turn around and go, hey, ladies. And that's what I found so interesting about this was because it was we almost got the same response. When we go, hey, ladies, if the men are going to step it up, you need to step it up as well. And we get the same blowback. Yeah, well, it goes both ways. And only if, I'll do that if you do this.
Right.
And I saw a couple of things that was interesting to me because I see a lot of guys who are good men who are in relationships and basically showing their partner what they're going to be like as a husband, as a partner, as a provider. But a lot of those guys are getting this, well, I'm not going to be your wife until you like me. I'm not going to do all those life things. Well, if you love me, you want to marry me, you think I'm, because I do all these things. Well, how do I know you're that person that you say you're going to be if you're not showing me now? You say you want to wait until you get your ring and we're married and all that stuff. So where is my, insurance? Where is my proof?
And to me, that's the conditional nature of kind of the human self-reflection. And my most direct, I'm going to say feedback, example, whatever you want to call it, is that a man or it would be preposterous. You hear a lot of times, from hesitant women, like, well, I can't be that. To your point, I can't be that until he can be this. Or unless he can be this, or if he's this, then I'll be that. Well, the reality is it would be offensive, preposterous, whatever you want to call it, for a man to say, I'll love you when you submit to me, or I'll love you if you submit to me. I mean, I'll love you when you act right. No, she wants to be loved unconditional, right? And so that something should not be a conditional kind of thing. Now, you open your garage door completely for any car that pulls up? Probably not. But at the same time, to have a conditional outlook on I will if he will, or I will when he will. Like I said, if you just flip the script on that, and you look at the other side of the coin, nowhere will we accept a man saying, I'm not going to love you until you submit to me. And I'll tell the story of the one particular comment of somebody that kind of even tried to go biblical with the whole thing. And that actually brought that whole concept to the surface, right? But just conditional, but at the same time, it's a great out. It's a great out to say, well, I can't be that. All that stuff that he wants. Yeah, well, what about my wants? And when I get what I want, when he reads the list that's equal to mine. Oh, by the way, somebody actually put a woman list up there in the comments and then took it down after a while.
Yeah, well, that was my fault. I misunderstood because she said, well, can I say what I want? I'm like, well, of course. And I was thinking in terms of relationship.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she meant on that post. And so when she posted it, I was like, well, it seems like you're not honoring the fact that we're as men expressing our wants here, and you feel the need to reciprocate or to rebut and put your list up there. And when I said that, she was like, "Oh no, you said that I could." And I was like, "Oh wait, I misunderstood."
Yeah.
So then she took it down, which I honestly didn't think she needed to do that, though. I appreciated the respect that there was just a misunderstanding on both sides.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great illustration, honestly, of the need to, well, before I listen to your needs, you need to hear my needs. Well, it's like, I'm not listening to you if I need you to hear me first. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's where you get into arguments where stupid arguments where nobody's listening to anybody, but everybody wants to be heard. And I think that's where we are in a lot of these dynamics between masculine and feminine today. It's like, it's these stupid arguments where, nobody's listening. Or I mean, I will say with the guts that I don't think modern feminism says listen to men these days.
No.
Even though we're trying to express ourselves, we're trying to, in the healthiest possible masculine ways. We're not, I'm not clobbering you over the head. I'm not whatever. We're just saying, intelligently, clearly, here's what we want. Well, are you willing to listen if we do open up?
Yeah. And I think that's the issue we're running into, is that because of the push for feminism, it's all about listen to me and do what I say and love me unconditionally. It's not reciprocated, though.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll get deeper in that after this next break, but that's what we're seeing so much of. So as we get into, we'll start talking more to the men after this break about why you need to be expressing your wants and needs.
Right, which is key, man. It's important, man. I mean, it is in terms of this dynamic. And even if we get that pushback, like, we still got to have the guts to put it out there and to have the self-reflection to be able to say yes. I mean, to give a voice to that. And so it's crucial and key, and it's important, man. And I think it's a sign. I think it's personally a sign of healthy masculinity if a man can verbalize and if a man can put a voice to it, and if two men can take a break.
Yeah, I think we should take a break.
You think we should take a break
for the cause?
All right, taking a break. Your Bad Men of Masculinity, KLDC 1220 AM in the Mile High, and on the interwebs everywhere. We'll be right back. After these messages, we'll be right back. Remember that?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Yeah, I can still hear you. She can still hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Give her a pause.
Yeah, before we come back, we'll give her a pause.
You guys are fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for you guys watching on YouTube, doing the behind the
On
scenes
the
thing,
YouTube.
you're still figuring it out. So we'll get better at this, and we'll have you on so we can accept your comments and things while we're live. It's a work in progress. That's why we keep changing logos and color coordinating and doing.
Yeah, I saw that when you did that. I saw the logo thing. I was like, bing. I was like, okay. All right. I saw you because I saw you typing and all that kind of stuff. I was like, what is he doing over there? Yeah, we are. Man, this is as grassroots as it gets, man. One day when we got a studio with cameras all over the place and,
it will be big time. So
live on a set somewhere in the warehouse, it will be big time. And
we got to be making our mistakes now while we still can.
Exactly. Hey, man, big things start small, man.
That's right.
Big things start small, man.
You say little things come in small packages?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying those nice things about me.
Yeah. A small package said that. But yeah, that's, I'm digging this, man. But this is cool, man. We're just keeping it real, man.
But yeah, if you are watching this on YouTube, you can make comments and we will see them after the fact. And I do check those things all the time. So,
and we comment, we try to be pretty quick with it too. We try to be pretty responsive. Again, grassroots. So we're both on our phones typing out comments and stuff. And we love hearing where you agree or disagree. We love hearing all that kind of stuff, man. So
yeah, we're all about it. So I guess we'll do our.
Oh yeah, we're back.
And we're back.
And we are back.
Bad Men of Masculinity.
We are back.
KLDC 1228.
We are back
Mile
like
High City.
We are back like a scratcher.
And let me finish.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I totally.
Can I finish?
I'm
Can I finish?
I'm just rude, man. I need some like home training. I'm rude, man. I'm rude.
I don't know if homeschool. You need the old school with the paddling.
Oh, see, why you got see, man?
That's what I got.
Yeah, I got some whoopings growing up.
Man,
Did you get whoopings growing up?
I did get some whoopings. I remember even kind of saying something to my dad about it one time. He's like, I ain't whoop you that much. Well, that much. I mean, quality over quantity. What you trying to say?
We had to go get the switch off the tree.
Yeah,
off the bush. I don't know what kind of bush that is, but I'm pretty sure they grow them in hell. Because man, whatever kind of bush that is, you got to go get the switch and it was like flexible, man, and you can't bring a small one. Oh man, you do the little one motion to pull off all the leaves, man. I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what kind of bush that was, but it was definitely a satanic devil bush.
No, I only got a small one once.
Exactly.
After that,
oh, we all did it once.
Then I would get the bigger stick.
Yeah.
And they were like, "We're not. You need, and they'd either send you back out or whatever." Oh. I'm like, "No, that's what I got."
Yeah, no, I ain't the big stick. I ain't never gonna get the big one, man. Because my great grandmother used to watch us, man. She from the country. She was like, "Okay, that's what you want." And then we, sometimes we, every now and then we belt it up. We get the belt, but most of the time, growing up, it was the switch. I had to go get a switch off the tree.
Yeah, I remember I got belting from my stepmother once, and I laughed at her, and that was a mistake because that meant I got a second one from Dad later on. I'm like, and he was mad. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, you don't want to do it because you made his day mad. Because when he came in, he had to hear about all that. Yeah. He been hearing about whatever he had to hear all day. Now I got to come home and hear this. I got to hear this one. So speaking of hear this one, man, it was the whole idea of men wanting, and that started that had that list of the posts that you had, man, and just the notion that men would want anything. And so one of the comments, and we'll get into why it's important for men to have wants. But one of the comments was from a woman, and she was commenting about, she was using scripture, Ephesians 5, where it talks about, a man should love his wife as Christ loved the church. And she was talking about her past relationship and all those kinds of things. And essentially she was getting to, I can't do any of these things until I find that man. And that brought up, and so I'm too stupid to say no, back off. So I pushed right back in, and that's when I said, I was like, yeah, but it also says a wife should, wives submit to your husbands as unto Christ. So, if you want to pull up some scripture, don't pull up half of it, pull up all of it. And so at some point, we got to recognize that if we keep ending up with unworthy people, then maybe it's not an abundance of unworthy people. Maybe it's a glitch in our picker. Yeah. Maybe it's a glitch in your personal matrix. And maybe that's an indicator that, okay, I need to go do some work on my personal matrix and find out what the glitch is in that, and go figure that thing out. Because again, the whole idea of I'll find this, I'll do this when I find that, or when there is a man. There's plenty of men like that. There's a lot of good men out here, man. There's a lot of good men. I'm not saying they're easy to find, because they're probably not where you've been looking, because your picker's probably that might be, you might have to change ponds if you want to catch a different fish, right? So,
or that man is has boundaries and is expressing his wants, and you are not accepting of those boundaries or expressions of want, and so that good man has gone his own way because he felt the blowback and realized, because honestly, a good man will have boundaries, and he will have a list of wants, and he will have red flags, and he will, deal breakers, and he will tell you those things. And so if you're looking for a good man, you need to be willing to reciprocate with your boundaries, your list of wants, your deal breakers, and that's how you build a foundation for a good and healthy relationship. However, when we get blowback as men that say, hey, these are things I want, you can't want anything. Yeah. How dare you have wants? What is it, 1950s? Really?
And this is why it's important for men to continue to voice all those things, because we got to be doing our work. We got to be doing our work almost in a vacuum, where it's not dependent on anybody or anything. I want to do my work because I want to be a better me. I want to be the best me that I could be. And I have not reached the best me that I could be. And maybe I won't until I die. And then I will be the fullness of who I can be. I won't be on this earth. But anyhow, to keep working on ourselves to be the best that we can be. And part of that work is knowing yourself and understanding yourself and growing yourself, and then giving a voice to yourself, giving a voice to, I have a theory. I think, most men are, or most grown adult males are men protecting a wounded boy inside of them. Right. And so sometimes we got to give that wounded boy a voice and let him speak, give him value, give him words, protect him by being able to express his needs, his wants. What does he need? That little boy that's in you. What does he need? I mean, and give a voice to that. There's nothing wrong with wanting something, especially if it's an area of relationship or dating or something like that. There's nothing wrong with wanting something from a pivotal female in your life. That's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something we've talked about a lot before, and I think we're going to have to start bringing that back up for the radio shows. That a lot of us have grown up in nice guy syndrome. We were raised either without a father or their father who was absentee or neglectful, or just within this kind of feminist narrative of the guys don't have a say now, and so it's all about the mom. It's all about the feminist narrative, and so that generated without a healthy masculine presence in the home. It generated nice guy syndrome, where now masculinity is being trained out of boys in the home, in the churches, in the schools, and everything else. And so we get trained into this kind of manipulative nice guy syndrome of, all right, well, I'm not valuable enough, and so I need to caretake on my parents or my authority figures, and that even translates into our relationships. And so instead of being upfront about our wants and needs, usually most nice guys are manipulative, and they'll say yes to whatever it is you want and be the nicest guy that you've ever seen and take care of all of your needs, while he secretly is trying to manipulate to get into your pants or in the bedroom or wherever he's really wanting to go, instead of just saying up front. And I speak from experience. That's how I spent most of my teens and 20s and 30s probably as well, because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And now moving forward, and as we do these shows and we talk to you guys, having a list of your wants and desires and things that you need and your deal breakers is a must. You need to be vetting these women as much as they vet you, because we all know that we all get the poop test from the women, and they're always testing us and vetting us to make sure we're real men and that we won't fold under their pressure or their scrutiny. We need to be doing the same thing, because a high value man has boundaries and ethics and a list of desires and wants that he needs and expects.
Yeah, that high value man is not a nice guy. To your point, nice guys manipulate, but they also medicate. Mm-hmm. And when you manipulate others to try to convince them to value or see the boy inside of you, or to take care of the boy inside, whatever it is, trying to meet that need, or to medicate the fact that boy inside of them is not heard, and that boy inside of them is not valued. And it's almost like maybe we need to have like get to the point where you're doing your work on yourself. And for some people that might involve therapy, but guess what therapy is? Therapy is giving a voice to your experience. It's giving a voice to who you are and where you are. And so you're able to express those things in healthy ways, not manipulation, not medication. And I think we as men need to do the work on ourselves. We need to get our bodies right. We need to get our bank accounts right. We need to get our hearts and minds right. We need to get our relationships right. And for us as men, man, a lot of the bad picker in us is because we haven't gotten in touch with that boy and listened to him and find out what he was missing when he was growing up, and what he needs, and what, how we can help that, how we can, come alongside of him and almost be the man that he never had, or something along those lines. And so, we as men, it's crucially important for us to dig deep and do the work and to grow and be the best man we can be, so that we can be high value, so that we can value ourselves and expect others to do the same.
Yeah, and if you're wondering if you're a nice guy, or if wondering if you're a high value man, if you're listening to this kind of going, well, where do I fall? One good way to really tell is, if you're a nice guy, you're looking for your validation from women. You are just doing whatever they want and saying yes and getting stuck in the friend zone all the time. If you're a high value man, you are surrounding yourself mostly by men who are also high value, who are doing the work, who are there to be your support and your accountability buddies during your process of talking about your trauma. Because one of the things that I noticed when I was deep in my nice guy syndrome was that I avoided other men. I just assumed other men were jerks, mm-hmm. and they were going to be mean to me, and they were going to bully me, and all these silly things. Now I would much rather be around my guys than a lot of ladies most of the time. And not because I don't have any love for ladies. I love the ladies. I still get along with ladies, greatly. Though I have more in-depth conversations, more connection, and more kind of soul bearing with my guys, because these guys have been through the same things I've been through. And all those years in the nice guy syndrome, I thought I was all by myself, and I was the only one, and I had no help, and it was just me on my little island chasing after whatever woman I could find. and being stuck in the friend zone. And since I've started doing the work, started talking about these things with other men, I realized, number one, I'm not alone. Number two, I'm not as bad as I thought I was, because as human beings, we always think we're better than we are, and we always think we're worse than we are, and usually fall somewhere in the middle. And you need a group of guys, your wolf pack or your gang, that say, this is where you fall. This is your lane, and we will support you in that lane. We will support you even taking the off ramp and getting on the highway and becoming better. You need guys for that. So, gentlemen, you need a group of guys to do therapy with, to do bonding with, to do man stuff with, so that you can build your masculinity, so you can get out of the friend zone, so you can get out of the nice guy stuff and move forward as a healthy, high value man.
Takes a man to make a man, and there's no shortcut to that. And so being around other men is a great way to cultivate that healthy masculinity that you have and want to be. You can have a pivotal woman in your life, but you can't get to the point where the only voices you hear are feminine women and expect to keep your masculinity. I'm a firm believer in that. I mean, I believe you can have the deepest, most passionate, connected, loving, intimate relationship with a woman in your life, but I believe you still need regular and deep presence of men in your life, men that have refrigerator rights to a point of they can have conversations with you, they can ask you questions, challenge you, whatever. They're comfortable, in your home, they've been whatever. And so we do all that work amongst us, so that we do see ourselves the value, and so that we do present ourselves. And especially if you're in a single or dating relationship kind of space, you show up with value, you show up with worth, you show up with something to offer. Where you're not coming in looking for anything, you're coming in offering something, not expecting something or asking for something. And that's, the key to the foundation of why I think, it's important for men to do the work, to have the wants, to give the value to the wants.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing the work, and if you don't have a group of guys around you supporting you doing the work, then you're naturally going to, especially in the socioeconomic society that we're in right now, you're naturally going to fall into probably more of a feminized mindset. You got to have guys around you so that you can bounce these ideas off of them, so that you can find your own foundation, and for the most part, so that you can be high value and express your wants and desires and your needs, so that you find the one who's actually a match for you. And ladies, you want a man who will express those things to you. If you have resistance to a man expressing his wants and needs, you're not really ready for a relationship, or at least you're not really ready for a real deep, long-lasting relationship, because a high-value man, a man of substance, will have wants, needs, and boundaries and express them to you. And if you go into a club and you got somebody just all up on you, probably not going to be your high-value man. Most likely he's going to be the nice guy who wants something from you.
And I say maybe, as we go right down, maybe we'll finish up on the fourth lap here, talking to women about why this is important. Why do you want to know what they want? So with that, we will be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC 1220 AM in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado, and on the interwebs everywhere. We'll be right back.
Speaking of interwebs, we're on YouTube right now, going live. So if you're watching us on YouTube,
is it? Are we on YouTube?
Yeah, we're on YouTube live. We're on the tube of the U.
What? Hey, if you're on YouTube and you're watching this, you need to hit that subscribe button. It's right down there. Hit the bell, so it'll tell you when we're live, all that kind of stuff. But at least hit the subscribe button. Come on, for real. I mean, it takes you could have done it 5 times by the time I just said hit the like button.
Don't be needy.
Just
don't
subscribe.
Be needy. Come on.
Subscribe, because when we get subscribers, then, it ups the ranking with YouTube and all that kind of stuff. What did you say? Don't be needy?
Yeah, don't be needy.
I'm begging, dude. I'm begging.
He's begging.
I'm begging like Keith Sweat back in the day. I'm begging.
No, we do the radio show live, and we do the behind the scenes here, especially for the Mad Men of Masculinity fans on YouTube. So if you're wondering what the heck we're talking about, that's what we're talking about.
Boom.
So we'll do our pause and then get back on the air.
Mad Men of Masculinity. If you're looking for us, come to Mount Rushmore. We're in the back, where headquarters is. It's the Hall of Justice.
Where Superman goes.
It's the man quarters.
Are you Superman or am I? No, I'm Batman.
I'm Superman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Superman, man. I like Superman.
I like Batman.
Hey, that's not an S on this chest. It means hope.
That's why I saw the Man of Steel too.
Oh, did you?
I did see that.
I thought I was telling you something. But
in Kryptonian.
Yeah. It means hope. I like that. It's not an S. It's not an S.
So Squirrel Time.
Before.
Have you seen the new Thor movie? I saw that the other night.
The new what?
The new Thor movie,
Nah,
Love
man.
and Thunder. It's a little campy.
No,
It's a little campy. I mean, it was all right, but it was a little campy. They're attempting to be.
What does campy mean? I went to public school. We had it.
They were too focused on the comedy.
Oh,
You know?
yeah. They try to make it too entertaining sometimes, man. I don't know, but nah, I ain't seen that. I haven't seen that at all.
But no, it's good, people. You should go see it. Disney, don't cancel me. Disney, I really like it.
Like Disney is canceling us, then we got problems. Like for either that or we don't know how dope we are. If Disney is worried about what the Mad Men and Masculinity is saying.
I'm sorry, Disney. In my own personal opinion, it was a little campy.
Allegedly.
It's
I didn't
say that. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. But
whatever. So anyway, where were we? Squirrel.
We're talking about men wanting. And I think here in this last stretch, man, these last few minutes, I think, ladies, here's what the deal is, right?
Here's the deal.
You heard this straight from me, straight from Captain Kirk of the Mad Men and Masculinity here. And that is, if you don't care about what men want, and if you refuse to care about what men want, you need to get out of the dating pool.
Bye.
Like you need to go towel off and you need to go sit somewhere, have you a little break. Get out of the dating pool because you are messing it up for the good women out there. If you are bitter, hurt, wounded, if you're bleeding all over people who didn't cut you, then you need to go heal your wounds. But the fact that men, the whole idea or notion that men can express themselves and can verbalize themselves should be good news to you. So if you got a problem with that, again, I would suggest you get out of the dating pool because there's a lot of good men and we're tired of buying you Starbucks. We're tired of wasting our Starbucks points on people like you, women like you that don't care about men. All right.
And it's a great point because all we hear is, I wish he would express himself. I wish he would tell me what he's thinking. Right. And then we do.
And then to sit down and shut up. That's what they say, like a baby. Like you spend, the first 2 years trying to get them to talk. And then as soon as they talk, you want to tell them to sit down and shut up. And I think maybe that's how they look at us. Maybe that's how modern women look at men. Like our only good is to take a bullet and kill a bug and take out the trash.
Well, I mean, and to your point, on the opposite side, a lot of this nice guy syndrome stuff is ruining good women for good guys because they are manipulative and nice guys, and they get put in the friend zone and they get mean and nasty and hateful. And so if you were stuck in the friend zone, guys, and you want to get out of it, it's time to find you a group of men and stop dating. Just like we just told the ladies, like if you're hating the man and you don't want to hear what he has to say, stop dating. It's time to take some personal time, get some therapy, do some personal development work. Yeah. And when you feel solid and you found out who you are and what you really need, and both men and women, what your wants, desires, boundaries, what your path in life is, then maybe jump back in the pool and go resonate with somebody who resonates with you. Yeah. If you're desperate to find somebody, and I think that's probably a great key. If you're desperate to find somebody, you think you need somebody to complete you, get out of the pool. You're not ready to date. You're not healthy yet. You need to go do some work. Go get on the couch, tell your story, talk about your traumas. Once you've talked about your traumas enough, then they will no longer hurt, and you will gain the wisdom that they're there to teach you. Because wisdom is a memory without the emotional attachment, and usually a memory with emotional attachment is the trauma that is programming your subconscious to attract all those losers and all those people that your bad picker keeps picking.
Yeah, if you're a guy and you can't show up and express your wants and be confident in those wants, then you're looking for validation and you just want somebody to be a mother to that wounded little boy inside of you. And no woman is going to stick with a man where she is his mother emotionally, mentally, physically, in any one of those ways. She won't respect you and she won't appreciate you. And so, been there, done that, by the way. So I'm talking from experience. Like if you can't show up in your masculinity, then don't show up. Then don't get in the dating pool. I'm not talking about being perfect, by the way, but I'm talking about something as simple as being able to express your wants. If you can't express your wants with confidence, and again, this has nothing to do with misogyny. This has nothing to do with you need to, whatever, serve me. You need to blah, 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 blah. It's got nothing to do with that. Because I think if you're emotionally intelligent enough to express your wants, you're probably emotionally intelligent enough to hear somebody else's wants and ideally, be willing and open to meet that person somewhere along that road and to overlap 100%, because I don't think marriage is 50-50. I think it's 100-100. And so to be able to show up and express those wants is important. And to me, it shows maturity emotionally. To me, it shows intelligence emotionally. And to me, it shows value emotionally. You've done your work, right? You've invested in yourself. So you're bringing something to offer that has value to her. And when you show up with something that's value to her, you're not going to give it away for food stamps. It just ain't going to happen. And so do your work, show up with that. But then again, ladies, if a man is bringing that work, first of all, if a man is bringing that work, bringing his what he has to offer, that value, and you ain't willing to pay the price or to invest, equally, that guy hopefully should be like, bye, Felicia, and throw up the deuces, turn around, walk out. You can keep your Starbucks that I just bought, your latte or whatever it is. I got the stars anyway. I got extra points. I get a free drink at some point. Dude, you know how much Starbucks I bought when I was there? Dude, man, I should have bought stock, dude.
I want to smack you with this.
I had so many Starbucks points, dude. I mean, I'm telling you, man. Anyhow, squirrel.
But no, that's a great point, because if you're not finding what you want, it's time to do the inner work.
Right.
And if you cannot sit and receive and be reciprocal, if you want, ladies, if you want a man to listen to all your wants and needs and love you unconditionally, you need to reciprocate that. You need to be able to listen to his wants and needs and be able to love him unconditionally. Now, let's be honest. There is very little unconditional love except for pets and small kids in the world today. So you need to build a foundation of what are your boundaries, what are your wants, what are your needs, what are your deal breakers, and work with those things. Because as human beings, we are always changing, we're always evolving, and the idea is to come in with a mind of service to serve the relationship, to serve the family. Just, you want to come in with a bigger purpose in mind of what are we building together. It's not about getting my needs met. It's about what are we going to build together. And plus, and to the point, guys, you have to prove your worth. And you see all these pictures of these millionaires, billionaires, these little Italian guys with bald heads, big bellies, with these big yachts, with a bunch of ladies. Well, that guy had to work his tail off to make all that money to buy that yacht. And a lot of those ladies, all they had to do was look cute in a bikini
on Instagram,
and then they get on there. So if you are a high value man, or you want to be a high value man, you need to vet. And probably what a great way to vet is to say, hey, this is what I need. This is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what I need. Mm-hmm. If they can't handle that, then that's not for you. I don't care how cute her butt is. I don't care what you think she's going to look like in that dress, or how cute your kids are. Maybe if you want a trophy wife, fine. But we're talking about building healthy relationships as a healthy man with healthy masculinity. So you have to be a healthy man with healthy masculinity who knows your needs, your wants, and your desires, and expresses those in a healthy way. And we're not talking about grab her by the ponytail and Jaeger to, hey, girl, this is what I need. No, that's kid mandate. We're done with that.
And being willing to walk away if it ain't yours. Like, if it's yours, then you sit. If it ain't yours, being willing to walk away and say, no, thank you. It's not a good fit. And not desperate enough to, like, man, I'll just take any old whatever.
A lot of our fellow manosphere podcasters talk about the hard next or the soft next. Like, if she's not acting according to your boundaries, or is breaking your boundaries or testing your boundaries, soft next her. Yeah. And I mean, when it's in relationships, these are things. And I hate having to play those games, though. I mean, it's one of the things I like, being very honest and very real. But I mean, sometimes you have to do those things. Like, okay, well, I told you that was a boundary. I told you not to do that. I'll talk to you in 3 or 4 days. So.
And women are good at, women in the women's sphere, women have no problem saying what they want. They have no problem saying what they don't want. I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me, hanging out the passenger side of his best friend wife, trying to holler at me. I mean, you can go on and on and on with all the cultural stuff of, it's pretty clear. I mean, even amongst women, I've talked to women who have admitted, amongst women, they're pretty clear with, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, blah, 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 and I'm not settling. I'm not going to settle, but I meet a man and I want him to settle down. I mean, so et cetera, et cetera. So, from the man perspective, we got to be willing to, walk away if it ain't your thing, or not even get into it if it ain't your thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain.
Where are we going, Captain?
We are lining up on runway 32 right, and bringing us to the for landing. I want to thank you for flying with us on Madman Radio Airlines. Your baggage, you just might as well not even get it. Leave that on the plane. But if you want to collect your baggage, Your luggage will be in Parasol 4.
No, it'd be in the trash out back. You leave that baggage
We
out back.
opened up the luggage compartment and we just left it. We just let it hang out.
We dumped that out with the toilets. You don't want that mess
No
no
doubt.
more.
We don't want nothing. You think they do that? They don't flush the toilets in the air, man. Come on, man. They better not, man. I was walking the other day and I felt, anyhow. I won't go there. I was like, you know, I'm on like the final approach to DIA, the Denver airport, and
you haven't seen the blue missiles that they sometimes find that freeze when they come.
Sometimes I'm like, dude, what was that, man?
You
That
know,
was a big bird.
The
I was
blue
like,
water.
I was like, man, did Big Bird learn how to fly? Anyhow, squirrel. So what's your summary here, JBK, in a minute?
If you want high value man, you need to be a high value man. That means you need to know who you are, what you want, what your boundaries are, what your deal breakers are, and express those things. Ladies, if you want a high value man and want to attract a high value man, it means he's going to have boundaries and wants and deal breakers, and you need to be able to accept those things. What about you, sir?
Man, I think, a great, healthy place to be for a man. I mean, first of all, what you just said was exactly what I was going to say, so I'm kind of mad at you. I'm ready to reach out and punch you in the
Great
throat.
minds.
But I think, from a guy perspective, if you want to be ideally the best shape, the best position possible in life, especially in the area of dating relationships and interpersonal relationships, then you need to do your work to be secure in everything, including your wants and including your hard boundaries, and be able to say no, thank you, and to be able to move on, to not be coming with a heart of desperation or just the spirit of just I gotta have it, or scarcity or anything like that. And so, and then lady, at some point, y'all need to have a meeting wherever your lady's feminine headquarters is. I don't know behind what statue that's going to be, but y'all need to have a meeting. And guess what? Do you want men to open up and share who we are or not? If you don't, I mean, again, go somewhere. Go, like my great grandmother used to say, go somewhere and sit down.
Buy some batteries and go have a good time.
Because we don't need that out here in this space. If you're bitter, if you're hurt, if you're wounded, we just don't need that out here. We don't need that kind of energy out here in the singles and dating space. And then do your work, whatever your work is on both, on either end of the equation, in terms of, are you completely comfortable and satisfied with your body? Are you completely comfortable and satisfied with your bank account, your credit report, your job status, your whatever you want to, your living situation? Are you completely secure with all of that? If not, then then work on that. That's a great place to start. And when you get secure, then you're okay either hearing somebody else's wants and just sitting in that and hearing that, or being able to say, here's what I want. And if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit.
Yeah,
if it ain't a fit, you must quit.
Yeah. And last words for this: whatever it is you want in a man or a woman, if you're not that, you're not going to get it.
Boom. Ain't nothing wrong. If that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Ain't right.
JBK, appreciate you, man.
Love you.
Good stuff. Love you, brother.
Bye.
Madman out.